10:03. Do we have a quorum?
Madam Chair, you do have a quorum. Hear me?
Your mic is on.
Madam Chair, you do have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I want to call to order the October 2021 meeting of IHCDA Board of Directors. We are meeting telephonically today pursuant to the current health emergency in Indiana Code 5-14-1-5-37. Since we are meeting virtually, the procedures will be a little different from those we use during our regular board meetings. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that the members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be an audio recording posted to IHCDA's website next month. At the time when the motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first name and last name for the record. I will now take a roll call for the board members to confirm who is present for the record. I'm Erin Sheridan in the Lieutenant Governor's office representing Suzanne Crouch. Mark Parscala.
Here.
Corella, sorry.
Good.
Treasurer Kelly Mitchell.
I'm here.
June Midkiff.
I'm here.
Michael Schottmeyer. Okay, Andy Place Sr. and Tom McGowan. Are we missing those two then, I suppose?
Those board members.
Yes, Mr. Stottmeyer
Okay.
said that he would not be here. Mr. McGowan said he probably wouldn't be here. And we didn't get notice from Mr. Place, but we're good to go.
Okay, I just want to make sure we had their audio, that we weren't missing that. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 23rd, 2021 board meeting. Does the board have any questions regarding the minutes? Okay, may I have a motion to approve?
Mark Pascarella, move to approve.
June Midkiff, second.
Who seconded that? Treasurer Mitchell?
June,
Okay.
No, June Midkiff, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no one is opposed, the motion passes. All right, so let's move on to the second item. Please welcome Peter Nelson to present a recommendation regarding bond volume 4% credits, Spanish Oaks Apartment Phase 1. Thank you very much. Hi, Peter.
Hello and good morning, board. I am here this morning. I will be recommending two items on the agenda. So you can probably see Spanish Oaks Phase 1, this first recommendation, and then the next Spanish Oaks Phase 2. So Phase 1 is the 12th application we received and reviewed this year. It represents a total development cost of just shy of $43 million, excuse me, just shy of 43, requesting nearly $35 million in bond volume and over $1.8 million in credits. They are rehabbing 416 units of affordable housing. This is a partnership between the Exact Capital Group LLC and Heritage Affordable Communities. They are developers out of New York City with some tax credit experience in New York. This will be their first and second application in Indiana. So they are partnering to rehab the entire Spanish Oaks community, which is on the far west side. Excuse me, I am all over the far east side of Indianapolis. This phase consists of 116 units. They are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. It is a family development. The rehab will include items such as completely refinished kitchens, and appliances, HVAC systems, replacements in the buildings, and new windows in the buildings that will be energy efficient. So the site's in a pretty good location with plenty of community amenities. There's a Indigo bus stop very nearby to the community, several schools, a health center, pharmacy, and childcare as well. So during the round, the real estate staff reviewed the application, made sure it met the criteria of our 2022 qualified allocation plan, and we will be recommending the full allocation of bond volume and tax credits requested for this project. Before I pause to take any questions, I do kind of want to go over our key performance indicators that we list in our board memos. I know that's something that I've glossed over a little bit. You know, the one in these memos are kind of a little self-explanatory, but I'd like to talk about them a little bit, kind of give the board a little refresher on what we do with these and why we track these items we do. So there's a number of metrics that we do track with our bond volume. One is simply the amount of volume that we have. We are allocated a good amount that our agency splits between single and multifamily from the Indiana Finance Agency of these tax exempt bonds. And so we track our multifamily bond volume to just see how we're doing over the course of the year. We are able to carry forward any bond volume that we don't use for a couple of years. So if we have that carry forward volume, which we're still working on some carry forward that we can allocate now, we'll end up allocating the oldest amount volume, so it never expires. So that's something that we track. You know, without context, I don't think it's the best to put in a board memo. So that's not an item that you'll regularly see. Kind of this item that you do see that I think is good for the board to see every time is kind of, you know, the where and what types of units that we're getting online every year. So you can see our locations and the types. We're doing a lot of rehab, obviously this year, a lot of family developments. And that's something that's changed over the past several years. I think that some of the board members that have been on at least for a while can remember maybe just a few years ago, we were doing a lot of the affordable assisted living type projects, and tracking those and the locations of those, we were able to see that we were getting a lot of those types of projects online and potentially even some markets being saturated. So using those KPI, we were able to create a policy that we wanted to kind of maybe take a little pause on those assisted living and create a round. So we still wanted to be able to fund those types of projects, but we created a special round that we set aside a little bit of our bond volume and are taking those in a specific round that are going against one another instead of and really targeting some of the markets that may not have any yet. So yeah, that's just a little bit about our KPI that we track with the bond volume and kind of what you see on a month-to-month basis if these bond deals come for recommendation before you. So with that, I will pause. I'm happy to take any questions on not only the Spanish Oaks Phase 1, but any of the KPI that we may track for bond deals as well.
Thank you, Peter, for the additional information. Board, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask? Okay, Peter, we are ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $34,846,553 in bond volume and $1,873,805 in annual LIHTC to VEH Residential Phase 1 LLC for Spanish Oaks Apartment Phase 1 according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Thank you. Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
This is Kelly Mitchell. I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
June Midkiff, second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing no one is opposed, the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. All right. Oh, it looks like we have another recommendation with you, Peter. Sorry. I wasn't telling you bye yet. Would you
That's
like to
fine.
go ahead and move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, the second recommendation I'll have today is the Spanish Oaks apartment phase 2. So this project is all on the same site, very large multi-building community. So this application is the 13th application we received and reviewed, came in at the same time as the phase 1. This one is requesting a little bit less of everything. So this one's about $40.5 million in total development cost, requesting just over $33 million in bond volume and $1.7 million in tax credits to rehab 408 units of affordable housing. This phase is also requesting a $500,000 loan from our Indiana Affordable Housing and Community Development Fund. So again, just to quickly go over, this is the Exact Capital Group, LLC, and Heritage Affordable Communities partnering to rehab this large apartment complex on the east side of Indianapolis. Phase 2 consists of 408. This one has studio units as well as 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. Same rehab, kitchens, HVAC, appliances, energy efficient windows, and then, on the same site, so it's nearby to all the same amenities that I had mentioned under the phase 1. We reviewed this application independently of phase 1 to make sure it met all of the requirements in the 2022 qualified allocation plan, and we're happy to recommend the full allocation requested of bond volume, tax credits, and the development fund loan.
All right, fantastic. Does the board have any questions for Peter? All right, Peter, we're ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $33,050,581 in bond volume, $1,733,710 in annual LIHTC, and $500,000 in development fund to VEH Residential Phase 2 LLC for Spanish Oaks Apartments Phase 2, according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Great. Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
June Midkiff, so moved.
Motion by June Midkiff. Do we have a second?
Kelly Mitchell, I'll second.
All right, Kelly, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Pete. Now I can say thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Please welcome Megan Bauman to present a recommendation regarding bond volume credits, National Warehouse Apartments. Hi, Megan. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Good morning. Thank you. I'm here today. My name is Megan Bowman. I'm a rental housing tax credit specialist. The National Warehouse is the 9th bond application received and reviewed by staff in 2021. The project represents a total development cost of just over $26 million with just over $13 million in bond volume requested, and about 1.2 in low-income housing tax credits annually for 10 years. The project is located near the intersection of 22nd Street and the Monon Trail here in Indianapolis, with the goal to create 137 units of affordable housing. And this is on the site of the former National Automobile Factory. These 137 units will represent a mix of 61 one-bedroom and 76 two-bedroom units. The developer, Charlie Garcia, plans to demolish 2 of the existing blighted structures on the property and complete brownfield remediation of the entire site and rehabilitate the remaining 2 buildings on the property to produce 137 brand new units of affordable housing. Further details can be found in the development summary in Exhibit A in your packet. During the round, real estate development staff reviewed the application to ensure it met the criteria set forth in the 2022 QAP. So far this year, we've reviewed and allocated funding for 1,196 units, and as referenced in Peter's presentation there, and with those 2 recent Spanish Oaks approvals, that brings us to a total of 2,020 units. And if approved, National Warehouse would bring us to a total of 2,157 units of affordable housing today. I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
All right. Does anybody on the board have any questions? All right, Megan, we're ready to hear your resolution.
Excellent. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $13,100,000 in bond volume and $1,270,439 in annual LIHTC to NWA LLC for National Warehouse Apartments according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
All right, thank you, Megan. Board, we have a resolution before us. I'll entertain a motion.
Andy Place, motion for acceptance.
Thank you, Andy. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mike Schotmeyer, second.
Thank you, Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing no one is opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Megan. Looks like Megan also has a recommendation regarding credits Uptown East Apartments.
I sure do. We are cranking out all the bond volume today and happy to see these new units online. The next project is Uptown East. It's the 10th application we've received and reviewed in 2021. It represents a total development cost of $26,721,474. With about 13.7 in bond volume requested and a little over 1 million in LIHTC requested annually for 10 years. The developer Investment Property Advisors has a goal to create 119 units of affordable housing. It's renovating an existing market rate apartment in Valparaiso, Indiana. These 119 units represent a mix of 88 one-bedroom and 31 two-bedrooms across 2 buildings on the site. Building number 1 will undergo extensive improvements, common area improvements, some bathroom remodels and capital needs improvements as necessary, as well as some bathroom configurations. Building 2 will undergo a more extensive rehab as the development team reconfigures the current unit plans and completes capital upgrades to the structure and quality to preserve longevity of the building. Further details can be found in the summary sheet in Exhibit A. During the round, real estate department staff reviewed the application to ensure it met criteria set forth in the 2022 QAP. And if approved, this project would bring our total today to 2,276 units of affordable housing. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Hey, board, any questions? All right, Megan, we're ready to hear the resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $13,771,128 in bond volume and $1,127,060 in annual LIHTC to the Eastgate Investments 3 LP for Uptown East Apartments according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
All right, thank you, Megan. Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
June Midkiff, so moved.
Thank you, June. Do we have a
Andy Place,
second?
second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing no one is opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Okay, our next guest is welcoming Alan Rakowski to present a recommendation regarding bond volume Peppermill Farms Apartments. Welcome, Alan.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Alan Rakowski, Director of Real Estate Allocation, here today to bring back a deal that the board saw last month. It's Peppermill Farms Apartments, was initially approved by the board last month on September 23rd. So just to recap, this is a 160 unit rehab development on the east side of Indianapolis. The board approved 10 million in bond volume and 929,260 in tax credits. After the board meeting last month, the owner informed us that they neglected to update their bond volume amount to 13 million as part of their last round of revisions that they made during our internal threshold review. The owner in the last round of revisions did not specifically separate out the bond amount where they listed the construction and permanent financing to show how much of that was being made up with bond financing. So they meant to increase that to 13 million. The overall loan amount did not change. This is the only thing that would be changing. As a result, we did ask for an updated application to reflect the 13 million, but nothing else changed in the application. So the tax credit amount is the same. The total development cost is the same. We're just coming back to the board today to ask for an increase from 10 million to 13 million for Peppermill, excuse me, for Peppermill TC Farms Apartments. So I'll pause here. Be happy to take any questions you might have.
Board, are there any questions? All right, Alan, it looks like we're ready for your resolution.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve increasing the award of bond volume from 10 million to 13 million to Peppermill TC LLC for Peppermill Farms Apartments according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
All right, board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain another motion.
Kelly Mitchell, I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Treasurer.
Mike
Do we have a
Schrottmeyer.
second?
Andy Place, second.
All right, thank you, Andy. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no one is opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Alan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on. Please welcome Kristen Garvey to present two recommendations regarding fiscal year 2021 balance of state continuum of care allocations of methodology. Hi, Kristen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Again, I'm Kristen Garvey, and I'm the grants manager for the Community Services Division. I'm here to request approval of the FY 2021 Balance of State Continuum of Care allocations and methodology. IHCDA prepares the collaborative application on behalf of the Indiana Balance of State, which is comprised of 21 of the 22 counties, excluding Marion County. Marion County has its own continuum of care. As part of this process, we are required to conduct a competition so that all renewing projects can receive a score on their performance and new projects can receive a score on their capability to administer a project. After they are scored, all projects are then ranked based on that score. In April of this year, we held the internal renewal competition portion of this process, and then in September, after we received the notice of funding opportunities, we called for new projects, which were then scored and ranked by non-conflicted reviewers. This year, HUD incorporated new equity criteria for our new projects, which included such factors as whether there is a diverse staff and board, are there people with lived experience on the governing board, does the organization obtain feedback from persons with lived experience or from people who have diverse backgrounds, etc. In 2020, HUD did not require a COC competition because of the pandemic. Instead, they gained congressional approval to renew all current projects automatically. And then for this year, they have informed us that all current projects will be listed in Tier 1, which means that they will be automatically renewed. All but one of the current projects submitted a renewal application. That agency had already informed us that they were not going to renew and transitioned all of their clients to another COC provider. HUD then provided us with an amount of bonus funds, which was added to that reallocated amount so that we could entertain new projects to expand the portfolio. In your packet, we have provided a listing of the scoring and ranking, a letter from the Indiana Balance of State COC Board describing the process we followed, and a regional map for your reference. This year, we will be submitting a collaborative application for funding that totals $20,770,043, which includes 6 new projects, expansion requests for our HMIS and coordinated entry systems, and 2 new DV bonus fund projects. The deadline for submission is November 16th, and we will hear from HUD on their final decision sometime in the first quarter of 2022. Thank you. At this time, I can answer any questions you might have on this request.
Thank you, Kristen. Board, do we have any questions? All right, Kristen, we're ready for your resolution.
Okay, and it's actually in 2 parts. I don't know if you want to do it one at a time or both at the same time.
Let's go ahead and do them both at the same time. Is that all right, David?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Staff respectfully requests that the board pass the following resolutions. Resolved that the board approve the use of the current methodology for scoring and ranking that was created by IHCDA staff and the Indiana Balance of State Continuum of Care Board of Directors for scoring and ranking of the FY 2021 COC applications set forth in Exhibit B, attached hereto as recommended by staff. And then the second part of that is resolved that the board approve allocating BOS COC grant funds in an aggregate amount not to exceed $20,770,043 for the FY 2021 Continuum of Care annual funding application for the organizations listed in Exhibit B as directed by HUD and recommended by staff.
All right, thank you, Kristen. We have a resolution before us. Do I have a motion to approve?
June Midkiff, move to approve.
Thank you, June. Do we have a second?
Mike Schotmeyer, second.
Thank you, Michael. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. Thank you. I just want to confirm, David, we were okay with doing this together, right?
Yes, you were, because
Okay,
no one asked any questions during the question period. So it
No.
was assumed that everyone had no problems with both of them.
Okay, thank you. I didn't mean to skip. Kristen, you also have recommendations regarding emergency solutions, Grant CARES Act final year update and reallocation.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So I am also here to request approval of reallocation of our COVID-specific Emergency Solutions Grant, or ESGCV. If you remember, this funding comes from the 2020 CARES Act, and in total, we received a little over $31.9 million. The ESGCV funding is designated to prevent, prepare for, or respond to the COVID-19 pandemic in order to assist people who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. In July of this year, HUD issued updated guidance that made critical changes to the program that affect how our subrecipients are able to spend their funding. In addition to allowing certain new expenditures that were not included in the original guidance, HUD extended the funding availability for emergency shelters from a January 2022 deadline to September 2022, which is when the funding expires. They also extended the homelessness prevention rental assistance from 12 months of assistance to 24 months. Even though most of the efforts around rental assistance have shifted to the IERA program, there are still approximately 3,000 Indiana residents that are receiving ESGCV rental assistance and who would be eligible for this extension so long as they still are income qualified. So because of these changes to the guidance, the Community Services Grants team needs to make changes to our original allocation plan. To determine what we needed to do, we worked closely with our subrecipients to understand where they were with their spending and what was happening in their communities. We requested that they submit a spending plan that demonstrated that they already spent 50% of their funds by September 30th, or that they will spend that 50% by December of this year. They also will need to spend 80% of all of their funds by March of 2022, which corresponds to our benchmark that HUD has established. As you review the recommended allocations, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, the figures for rapid rehousing and homelessness prevention have been reduced. Most recipients indicate that there is a lack of housing stock in their area to accommodate the need, and also that the IERA program is addressing the need for rental assistance dedicated to homelessness prevention. So subrecipients are asking to redirect those funds to other areas of need. The second thing to look at is the figures for emergency shelters have increased to accommodate the extended funding timeframe and the increased demand for hotel motel vouchers to deal with the lack of housing stock, as previously mentioned. Generally speaking, the expenditures for these vouchers come from the shelter projects. I want to add that you may notice that the current spending listed on the memo may not seem to justify an increase in need, but this is due in part to the date we pulled the information from the accounting system in preparation of this memo. To date, I can say that all of our shelters have either expended 50% of their funds or have provided us with an adequate plan that they will spend the amount by the end of the year. There is also an increase in street outreach. Subrecipients are planning for the winter months to assist those who are or will become unsheltered. They are also planning for an expanded need for food outreach, especially as they potentially deal with an increase in the newly homeless due to evictions. They also are asking for additional funds to cover things like hazard pay and personal protective equipment. There is also some new allowable expenses outlined in the July guidance, which include laundry services and vaccination incentives to help the unsheltered populations. So the breakdown of the reallocation for this request is increasing the HUB or homelessness prevention funds to $19,787,337, decreasing the rapid rehousing to $3,723,844, increasing the emergency shelter to $6,773,495, increasing street outreach to $901,464, eliminating the training line item because no one requested those funds, and decreasing the HMIS line item to $150,000 because the need of this particular type of funding was not utilized as originally thought. At this time, I can answer any questions you might have about this request.
Thank you, Kristen. Board, do you have any questions? Okay. Kristen, we're ready for your resolution.
All right, thank you. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approves staff's plan to reallocate Emergency Solutions Grant CARES Act funding in the aggregate amount not to exceed $31,977,694 for homelessness prevention, rapid rehousing, emergency shelter, and street outreach to the organization set forth in Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Thank you, Kristen. Board, we have a resolution. I will entertain a motion.
Andy Place, motion to accept.
Thank you, Andy. Do we have a second?
June Midkiff, second.
Okay, June, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, hearing no one is opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Kristen. You did a great job.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on. Jake, he will provide an executive update. Hi, Jake.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I have a few updates here I can provide for you. The first one being related to the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program. You may have seen last Friday, the Indiana Supreme Court issued an order to create a pre-eviction diversion program. And that came out of the Indiana Housing Eviction Task Force. And I participate on that task force as well. The eviction diversion program starts on November 1st. It's a voluntary program for renters and landlords. And we're also part of the plan of implementing that program to allow renters to apply for the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program. We'll be expanding to incorporate all 92 counties to allow those who, even if they're in an existing county that's running their own program, they will have a new tool, a new option to apply to indianahousingnow.org if they choose, or they can go through their local program. So we're just giving renters and landlords another tool across the state to apply for the available emergency rental assistance funding. So we're excited to be part of that, and nice to be able to coordinate and participate with the task force and the other municipalities as well. So just real quick, by the numbers, the October 25th report that we posted on our website, we've assisted just over 23,000 renters. 61 million has gone, and direct payments has gone out for rent. And then for utility, we're about almost at $4 million in utility assistance that's been provided. Total obligated and paid, we're almost at 220 million of that. We're currently in process of about 6,500 applications are being processed right now. So that's where we are with the rental assistance program. I did bring up last month an update on the LIHEAP, the Energy Assistance Program, and the Water Assistance Program, which is a new program. Both of those started accepting applications on October 1st. Actually, next week, we are beginning to make utility vendor payments are going out next week. Really moving that program along. Just a quick reminder, there are actually two funding sources available for LIHEAP this year. There's our annual appropriation that we received. We haven't got a final number on what that is, but traditionally, historically, that number's been around 75 million, but we're under a continuing resolution right now before we receive the actual final amount. But then also the American Recovery Plan Act, ARPA, we received an additional 114 million. So we're using with both of those pots of money, we're taking a two-pronged approach to utilize this additional funding that we have related to energy. Number one, we have a statewide marketing campaign to bring awareness and encourage renters and homeowners who may qualify to make sure that they're applying, and we're serving those that are qualified. We've increased the benefit for this year in a couple of different ways. We added a $175 benefit to each utility, electric and gas, and up to $350 per household for all energy assistance recipients. And we're also paying payment of arrearages to bring households current on their bill if they have arrearages. And that goes above in addition to a crisis benefit that they may have received as well. So the water program does last through September 2023. The nice thing about the water program that we've done is be able to align it with a universal application for the energy assistance program so that households can apply with one application rather than having to apply for both, use different applications. That helps streamline that process. With both of these programs, as I mentioned, we launched them on October 1st. As of I think earlier this week, we have received approved just over 10,200 applications for EAP. We've committed just under 8.9 million has been already committed for the EAP program. We don't have the water numbers just yet, but that's where we are with the water number with both programs. So last week I also mentioned a homeowner assistance fund that IHCDA will be administering. This is a new program that has come out of the U.S. Department of Treasury. As I mentioned back in August, we had submitted our plan to Treasury to launch this program. However, as of today, we still have not received any feedback or guidance from Treasury on when we can begin to launch our program. We've been encouraging homeowners who do have or are struggling or have been impacted by the pandemic, who may qualify to sign up to receive updates from the Homeowner Assistance Fund. Homeowners can go to 877gethope.org to get those updates. We've got approximately 3,700 individuals or households that have signed up for to receive that update. So in order for us to, one of the nice things that we have, knowing that we have this list of homeowners who are interested in potentially qualifying or receiving assistance from the Housing Assistance Fund, is we also have the Indiana Foreclosure Prevention Network, which is our great partners who provide housing counseling. And so we want to be able to utilize the work that they do as we wait for Treasury. So we do have a little bit of money remaining in the Indiana Foreclosure Prevention budget. That it's about $179,000 that we have. And so what we want to do, and we're going to do this here within the next week or so, is to work with our IFPN housing counselors to do some outreach. Treasury is putting emphasis on the importance of loss mitigation, and our counselors can be able to facilitate this communication between homeowners and service lenders to help them provide assistance for a loss mitigation strategy. And so we're still not sure where Treasury guidance is going to provide us when it comes to loss mitigation. However, we're just going to go ahead and be proactive with our IFPN network housing counselors to go ahead and start outreach efforts and to work with these homeowners who have signed up to receive updates to see if loss mitigation might be an opportunity for them as we wait for Treasury. And if it is, or if it's not, at least we have these homeowners ready to go when we do launch our program. A little bit of background here, because you're going to see probably a board memo at next month's board meeting. Back in November of 2017, IHCDA's board of directors approved $1.5 million of the IFPN budget for housing counseling. Between then and now, we have been able to spend about $1,385,000 of those dollars. So we got about $179,000 left, and that's where we're going to start with. We think we can, with our counseling agencies, reach about 1,200 homeowner households to begin that loss mitigation process. If you do the math, there's actually about $65,000 left that was never approved by the IHCA's board. We actually got a little bit of money still trickling in from some of the filing fees that were done before the program sunset, or after this program sunset, we were still getting a little bit of money. So that money, that $64,000 that we have, that's over the $1.5 million that their board originally approved back in 2017. We will be going back to the board next month to ask for approval of that remaining $64,000 to use for housing counseling as part of this loss mitigation strategy that we're implementing here in the next week or so. But I want to give the board an update on that, on where we are. So I want to thank Chris Nevels. He's stepped right into this role a few months ago, and he's done an outstanding job with getting this program up and going with the Housing Assistance Fund, and also recognizing the importance that our foreclosure prevention counseling partners have with this new program, Homeowner Assistance Fund. But yeah, he's done a great job and listened, and you know, he's really has without any guidance from Treasury, it really is a challenge as we think about how to prepare to launch the program, even though we have this network here in Indiana. And so I know it's a challenge when you don't have a lot of guidance, and you know that you have homeowners who need some assistance and some guidance, because there's a lot of tools out there right now, and we're excited that we're going to be able to add one more tool to prevent any type of foreclosure that may happen with any homeowner who's been impacted by the pandemic. So just a quick reminder on November, our November IHCA board meeting is a week earlier because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So that meeting is November 18th, the second Thursday in November, and that is at 10 a.m. Eastern. And we're planning for that meeting to also be a virtual meeting as well. So with that, Madam Chair, I will turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Jake, and thank you for your hard work and also your team's hard work during some challenging times. We appreciate what you guys are all doing, so thank you. Are there any questions for Jake? All right, if there's no other business, this meeting is adjourned and it is 10:49. So thank you all for being here and enjoy the rest of the month. Thank you.
Thank you.